Today I'm here to give my prediction and speculation for The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 9. Now this episode right here do not have a name or a title for it. So let's get started with my predictions and speculations. Now, Robert Kirkman said on The Talking Dead that this episode will revolve around some of the events that happened in the comic book. And you can tell from the promos and the sneak peeks that they showed for this episode that some of these clips, well, some of the clips that they show from that episode will have some events that happen in the comic book. So let's get started. Now, this right here is just my prediction speculations, but I think that Michonne is still at the prison because you can see the camera zooming in on the prison, and you can see, and that pretty much is symbolism itself, showing that the prison is over, the prison arc is over. You can see how zombies has overran the prison. I think Michonne is still at that prison because in the comic books, after the governor attacks the prison and everything is over, Michonne remains at the prison because she finds, I ain't gonna say the person's name if y'all haven't read the comic books, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but she goes outside of the prison and she finds somebody that she knows with his head chopped off, and it's revealed that the governor only decapitated his head. He never stabbed him in the brain. So Michonne stabs him in the brain, and she pretty much puts him to rest. And a lot of that comes from guilt too, because she feels if she would have never motivated him to help her with the governor, he would still be alive. And she also feels that if she would have kept the governor with the opportunity that she had the first time, he would still be alive and everybody would still be alive at the prison. But now in the TV series, he decapitates Hershel's head, but he only slices Hershel's neck 3 times. We never seen him take the blade and impale it into Hershel's head. The only thing we seen was 3 slashes. The first slash is when he cut half of Hershel's neck off in front of Rick. The second slash is when he slashed Hershel neck after he seen Hershel trying to escape. And then the third slash was the slash that completely decapitated Hershel's head. But like I said, we never seen him change his position of the sword he was holding. Well, Michonne's katana sword that he was holding, he never showed no signs of him impaling the blade into Hershel's head. So Michonne might find Hershel head and he might be reanimated and she might finish him off. That's just my prediction and speculation. Like I say, this episode will be revolved around the comic books because Robert Kirkman already said, he said any comic book Walking Dead fans would know what that scene was from that we seen Carl calling those 2 zombies from that house. And he said, like I say, he said any Walking Dead comic book fan would know where that scene was going. Next prediction. In this episode, like in the comic book, Rick falls into an illness and he gets very sick and he also catches a bad fever. Now we know pretty much he's down and out. Rick is he's barely hanging on right now because of the damage the governor did to him in a fight. I mean, the governor beat Rick up. He beat this man almost to death. This man's face is swollen. He have cuts on top of his forehead. This man could barely open up one of his eyes. This man probably have a headache. He's been through a lot, and at this point, like I said, you can tell that he goes into a really bad illness because in the promo you can see Carl shaking Rick while he's on the couch and telling him to get up, and you can see Rick is not responding at all. Now, back to what I was saying about this my predicted speculations. We see Rick looking into a mirror in his promo. He did the same thing in the comic book, but after he comes out the bathroom, he literally falls down from the illness. And he's sick. And at this point, in his promo, we see Carl with a gun in his hand, like raising it in the house. Now, he could be raising it to a zombie, or he could be raising it, or like I said, he could be raising it to that zombie, because we do see another scene of a zombie grabbing somebody's leg. I did my research, and that leg that zombie was grabbing, that was Carl's leg. He could escape from that zombie and then raise a gun at that zombie, but also, or he could be raising his gun at Rick. And let me explain this what I mean. Because in the comic book, after Rick falls down and he's sick, Carl he gets scared and he think Rick is dead. And he gets so scared he picks up his gun and he raises it at him. But then he realized that Rick is still breathing, so he hurry up and he runs to Rick and he says that you're still alive, you're still breathing. So that right there, when he raised the gun, that could be him raising it at Rick, or he could be raising it to that zombie that grabbed his leg. Second, we see another promo of Carl telling two zombies to come where he's at. Now this happened in the comic books too, except it was kind of different. Because when Carl in the comic book, when he told those two zombies to come where he was at, the reason why he did that was because he tried to prove himself worthy that he could defend his own self. He didn't need Rick help anymore. Because in the prison arc in the comic book, Carl was still a child. Also, you get to see Christmas. If you read the comic books, you would know that December had came around. You got to see Christmas unhappen. Well, you got to see Christmas happen in the comic book prison arc, and you can see how Carl was still a child because him and Sophia was still playing with toys. Now at this point in the TV series, you know Carl has grown up in the prison arc way before he even got to the prison arc. Carl has grown up. And plus, Sophia is dead in the TV series, so she wasn't around. But back to what I was saying about my prediction and speculations. You can see how he calls the two zombies in the TV series. I'm not talking about the comic book. So now it's different. Like I say, he's grown up. So I think he's going to call those two zombies, and he's going to lower them away from the door, because at that point, if you see zombies at your door like that, 9 out of 10 they know humans are in the house. And like I say, if you have two zombies at a door like that, those two zombies could cause a chain reaction. More zombies could see those two zombies at the door, and they will automatically go to that door trying to get in just because they seen those two zombies at the door. Like I said, zombies follow each other. They ain't smart, they just follow each other. That's how herds get made, because they follow each other. It don't mean that all those zombies know that there's humans at that place. They just follow each other because they seen the first two zombies doing it. So like I said, it's a chain reaction. And like I say, in the promo, he leads the zombies away from the door, and he kind of lead them a good distance away so he can probably get a good solid kill on them without having other zombies, hear that, and then they come to the house. And like I say, in the comic book, when he did that to prove himself worthy, and he killed those zombies, and he killed two more zombies. And after he did in the comic book, he goes back in the house and he tells Rick, he say, "You see, Father, I was able to defend myself out there." He said, "I don't need you anymore." He tells Rick, "You can go ahead and die. Go ahead." He say, "Go ahead and die. I don't care no more." He blamed Rick for Judah's death, and he blamed Rick for Lori's death in the comic book. Now, in the TV series, he pretty much knew what happened. He know Lori died way before that, and then he know Judith died because he was right. You can't even say Judith is dead. I'm not saying she's dead. Somebody could have came and got her and put it back on that bus. Just because you see blood, that don't mean she's dead. But pretty much, Rick and Carl think she's dead. So he thinks she's dead at that time. In the like I said, in the comic book, Lori and Judith died at the exact same time. And you can see how they left the prison. In the comic book, they was in the woods. And Rick tells him, "Don't look back at the prison." And Carl asks him in the comic book, where is Judith and Miles? But see, it's different. In the TV series, he already know what happened. So after Rick told him to not look back in the TV series after the prison arc was over, he pretty much didn't look back. He didn't ask those questions. Where is Judith and Miles? He didn't ask it because he know what happened. So I lost myself right there. So after that, so my predictions after he get through killing those zombies, I think he goes back in the house and he shakes Rick like I tell him he's trying to tell him to wake up. And then let's talk about the next promos. Rick will still be alive. Like I say, he's in the illness right now. He has a high fever, and I'm pretty sure he have a high headache, a very high headache from those wounds on top of his head from when the governor was punching him. Let's talk about the next promos that I seen, or the scenes I seen in the promo. We see Michonne running through the woods, and like I say, I could be right, I could be wrong about Michonne killing Hershel and then her leaving the prison, and she could wound up being in the woods defending herself from zombies. And we see another scene of Beth and Daryl. Well, we don't see Beth, but I can kind of see somebody behind Daryl. We can see that Daryl is scavenging, look like he's trying to scavenge food and supplies, and we can see how he got a flashlight, and we can see 3 zombies hanging up from a roof or a ceiling. And it's revealed probably that those zombies prior to before they turned into zombies, those humans probably committed suicide in a human state. And you can see how Daryl is establishing food, and you see another scene of Beth walking away from a house that's burning up. Now I could be wrong, I could be right, but my predicted speculations is, like I say, this episode will revolve around the comic books. So the group could end up meeting each other, at Hershel's farm, like they did in the comic books. Or that could be Beth burning up Hershel's house, pretty much burning up the past and letting it go, just like the governor did with Woodbeard, because we do see a house burning up. Or she could be burning up the house that we seen her and Daryl in with those 3 zombies hanging up. That's just my prediction and speculations, like with that one. Next, we see Maggie. Not too much happened with that scene, because, like I say, they're separated, and I think we will get a major cliffhanger, probably seeing Abraham Ford, because I heard Abraham's supposed to appear in the 9th or 10th episode. Abraham Ford, Eugene, and Rosita. Rosita, I can't say her name too good. I think she's a Latino. She's a Mexican or something like that. So I think we will probably get a cliffhanger seeing them, or somehow Rick might, after they meet up with each other at the farm, they might see Abraham and his team come there the next day like they did in the comic book. Because after Rick and his group go to the farm, the next day, Abraham and his team pull up to the farm, and they pretty much get into, well, I wouldn't say an argument, but they get into they get into, not no argument, but they exchange words with each other. So next, let's talk about the next scene with Glenn. Now we see Glenn, and we can see him in a very dark area with some light in his hand, and he's shining it. But prior to that, we see the bus that we see the bus that had left the prison. And I think that the elderly people is going to die in this episode, because if you put elderly people in the zombie apocalypse, you pretty much going to be carrying around dead weight. These people, and I don't want to sound mean, but that's what they are. They pretty much dead weight if you don't have someone like the prison or a good place to protect them at. Because like the Vatos in season 1, those old people was pretty much dead weight. And I think they're going to die, because if these people wasn't dead weight, they would have been valuable assets in season 3, in the season 3 finale. But you can notice how the governor left the elderly people behind at the prison, and Tyrese told the governor in the season 3 finale, "I'm going to watch over the old people," and the governor tells them thank you. So you can tell that they're really not valuable in terms of combat and protecting themselves. So I think a few elderly people will die, because you can see a whole bunch of elderly people falling off the bus, literally tilting and falling off the bus. And you can see how the very last person that be on the bus look like a zombie. So I'm pretty sure a zombie somehow get in there and pretty much bite somebody or scare them, because you can tell these people are really old too, because you can notice they didn't jump off the bus. They literally fell off the bus. So you can tell that. You can tell something ain't right with that. And did I touch on everything? I think I pretty much touched on everything. Let me check right quick. Oh yeah, next scene. I want to talk about this scene. We see somebody getting a leg grab. Oh, I already touched on it. That was Carl getting his leg grab. So overall, I think this episode will focus on Carl too in terms of his character development. I already said the great character development Carl had got in the comic book when it came to this when it came to that issue of the comic book. He got great character development. That's when he actually grows up in that issue of the comic book, and this issue will be the same issue. Well, this right here, this issue will turn into a TV. Will turn into an episode for the TV series. So, like I said, he grows up in that issue. Except this time he's already grown. This right here just going to brighten him. Just add extra character development slash characterization to his character overall. Like I say, it could be different this time. Like I say, he might blame Rick just like he did in the comic books. He might blame Rick. He already did that in season 3, and he blamed Rick for not killing the governor and stuff. But like I say, he might blame Rick again because the way he was shaking Rick, he was angry. And in the comic books, like I say, he got angry at Rick because he let 2 people die, and he pretty much said it was his fault, and he didn't need him no more. He said, "You can go ahead and die." So I think I touched on everything in this episode. Let me see and also we see Tyrese. We see Tyrese with his hammer. Like I said, they ain't show too much for this episode. Let me see. I pretty much covered everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed my preview discussion. Thumbs up the video, comment, rate, subscribe. And like I say, next is the Hunter's arc. Probably we're gonna see the Hunter's arc next. That's my predictions. I want to see the Hunter's arc. Like I say, Hershel spot could be spot that they meet up, just like they used the highway in season 3 and season 2 to meet up. In the season 2 finale, they used the highway to meet up with each other after the farm got overran. Season 3, this season right here could be Hershel's farm, or Beth could burn it down. So remember, subscribe, rate, comment, and peace.